are these local-ass bitches?
On today's show, the bitches take on the subject of personality styles and why gents do the shit they do. Find out why some people come off as assholes but are really just dicks in disguise. Discover how scheduling spontaneity is a thing and delve into the differing appeal of the word love in relationships. Without further ado,
I'm Lisa.
I'm Manny.
I'm Rosa.
I'm Nora.
Welcome to the lab. Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. We're just sitting here on a Saturday night, still glowing from our last episode with Davey and Dent. How exciting was that?
It was 2 episodes.
Oh, 2 episodes
Yeah,
ago. Yeah. But we're still glowing.
I know, exactly. Like, Manny even forgot. Like, exactly like what it was. He still thinks it was like
It was like it was yesterday.
We all slept good that night.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Felt so, like, legit. We had, like, an international guest.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it was transatlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We're doing something a little different on today's episode. We're gonna do personality styles.
I love that.
Talk about this. So I've been like a sales trainer for a long time, and I've trained hundreds of people. And it's called the Colors, and it's a form of Myers Briggs. Have you guys ever heard of Myers Briggs?
Yeah.
So it was a mother-daughter duo that created a personality style test during World War II.
Yeah.
And it was designed to get the women into work as fast as possible. So they take the test, find out what personality they were, and then they would get a job.
Wow.
So it's super interesting. But now we don't study like 16 personality types because it's too much. So there's 4 main categories, and then you're a combination of those 4, and that's how you get the 16. So it's like 4 times 4.
I see.
So that's where it comes from.
So this is like a case-by-case basis depending on what your combination is.
And the best part of this is, it helps you relate to other people, but it also helps you be less annoyed with your family.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get why they do certain things.
And this is,
loved ones.
this is really interesting to me because Manny, over the years, has told me a little bit about this. So I already kind of know, and it is true. Like sometimes when you notice these characteristics in certain people,
you're
like,
annoying of a personality.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But that's the thing, it's like when you notice these things happening, you're like, oh, they're this type. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, and then you're more like,
because your inclination is to say, well, why doesn't everybody just do the things the way I do them?
Yes,
like, what the hell? What's wrong with them? But this kind of explains why
very
your
fascinating.
brain is just wired differently than other people's. Okay, so let's start, shall we?
All right.
Oh my God.
I'm excited.
So the first personality style, this is called the orange personality, right? And I'll read you a little bit about the orange.
Okay.
So orange people, I act at a moment's notice. I'm bored and restless with jobs that are routine. I feel satisfied in careers that allow me independence and freedom. In relationships, I seek a partner that I share activities and interests with. With my mate, I like to explore new ways to energize the relationship. As a lover, I need to be bold and thrive on physical contact. In childhood, I had the most difficult time fitting into academic routine. I learned by doing and experiencing rather than listening and reading. So I need physical involvement in the learning process. I'm motivated by my own natural competitive nature and sense of fun.
So this kind of, from what it kind of conjures up to mind for me, it's like fly by the seat of your pants.
Yes.
Type of,
One word, if you think of orange, you think action. So orange people are action-based people, so they shoot first.
The movers and the shakers.
Ask questions later. Yes. So an orange person is not going to have a set schedule. They're the kind of people where if you have a party, they're going to not RSVP, or they might decide at the last minute they're not going to commit to it, right?
Yeah.
They love just spontaneity. They're the kind of people that'll just show up at your house unannounced. Orange people just like to take risks. They're very physical. Comedians tend to be orange, because they love attention. They love flashy dressers. So that's kind of like the orange personality. So probably a famous orange personality might be like a Donald Trump, right?
Oh, God.
So just
totally.
He's the epitome of the orange personality.
Good
Maybe
Lord.
the negative side. But But somebody like that who's just very larger than life personality.
And
yes,
real,
very big personalities. So although an athlete can also be orange because it's so physical.
They have to be constantly be thinking on their toes.
Yeah.
And they thrive on that.
Thrive on that stuff. Now, does anybody here relate to orange at all?
Not so much. No.
Not so much. Okay, good.
Internally, I relate to orange.
Internally. Okay. Well, we're all of them. So let's see.
Yeah.
Now, this is the opposite now.
Okay.
Now, we had orange. Now, the gold is the other side of your brain. So,
wow.
I need to follow rules and respect authority. I provide stability and maintain organization. My ability to handle details to work makes me the backbone of most organizations. In love, I'm serious and tend to have traditional views of both love and marriage. I want a mate who can work along me, build a secure, predictable life together. I demonstrate love and affection through practical things. In childhood, I wanted to follow the rules and regulations of the school. So they're like teacher's pet. You know? I understood and respected authority and was comfortable with academic routine. So the gold people, they have to go in order. So first I do this, then I do this. So like a gold person's like on Tuesdays, I work out at 7:30.
Yeah.
Gold people don't really like spontaneity, but if they're going to be spontaneous, they might say like, oh, on Wednesday at 5:30, I'm going to be spontaneous until 6 o'clock. So they'll like schedule their spontaneity. But they love lists. They like keeping lists. They like checking things off their box. So like, for example, if you do something that's not on your list, they'll still like write it and check it off.
Wow.
If they're really like organized. So do you guys, anybody here relate to orange?
Kind of, but
Nora's nodding her head.
I'm a list maker for sure, and I don't know if it's because I need to do it for my personality or because I have a bad memory. I'm like totally missed short-term memory.
or maybe there's something about it that kind of calms you or kind of makes you feel in order.
I never follow it. I make lists, but I seldom follow them.
Okay. So that could be your combo of some of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think I have that because gold also makes me think of
very structured. Just everything's got to go in order.
Yeah, which I'm kind of like that in certain things. Like I think that's why I do well in medical.
Yeah,
stuff.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So and because
or like accountants,
there's
like
no deviation.
You have to be gold to be an accountant because you got to do it the same way every time.
Exactly.
Deliver it the same exact way.
And that's the same thing with us too. I mean, you have to. You know what I mean? There's no deviation. There can't be.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I don't know all the other stuff about like all that like the dogmatic ways of being. I don't have.
It's a very traditional. Like by the time I'm 30,
yes, no,
I'm gonna get married. By the time I'm 32,
so
I'm gonna have a baby. You know. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's gold, right? Now let's move on to blue. So gold. Oh yeah, the word for gold before we move on to blue is structure.
Okay.
Where orange is action, gold is structure.
Gotcha.
Right. So now blue. I need to feel unique and authentic. I have a strong desire to influence others so they may lead more significant lives. I often work in the arts, communications, education, helping professions. I seek harmonious relationships and am a true romantic and believe in perfect love that lasts forever. I bring drama and warmth and empathy to all relationships. In childhood, I was extremely imaginative and found it difficult to fit into the structure of school life. I reacted with great sensitivity to discordance or rejection and sought recognition.
That's totally...
So you feel blue? Yeah.
I could relate to a lot of the things that you said.
So blue is emotion. So blue people,
for sure.
before they think of themselves, they think of others.
Yeah.
So you always think of others first because blue people are all about relationships. They think of others. They're like if blue people didn't exist, the world would be like a cold, dark, horrible place.
Wow.
Yeah. Blue people are very creative. They tend to be like musicians, artists, because you're converting emotion into like something physical or something tangible, right? Don't like conflict. The worst thing you could do with a blue person is conflict.
Yeah.
But definitely are their gut. They go from their gut.
Oh
right?
man, I totally go for my gut.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously a blue person, maybe a famous one might be Oprah, right?
Oh.
Ellen, like those kind of people, very like empathetic, very
and engaging that way, through emotion.
And very creative, right? Now the last one. Now this one I think is most interesting, actually. So green. Now green people, I seek knowledge and understanding. For me, work is play. I'm drawn to constant challenges in careers. I like to develop models, build systems for myself. In love, I prefer to let my head rule my heart. I dislike repetition, so it's difficult for me to continuously express my feelings. Once they're stated, they should be obvious to my partner. In childhood, I appeared to be older than my years. I focused on my greatest interest, achieving in subjects that were mentally stimulating. I was impatient with routine, questioned authority, and found it necessary to respect teachers before I could learn from them.
Sounds like my dad.
So anybody relate? Actually, green is very like the engineer.
Yeah,
I think I'm
he's an engineer.
Green. More blue.
Yeah, I could see you having green too.
I have some green, some blue. More blue than green.
More blue than green.
Definitely green. Like as I got older, I became more green.
Analytical. Green people are
Yeah,
so it's the opposite of your
that.
blue side. So blue is your heart, green is your head.
Yeah.
So a blue person is like, why haven't you said I love you 5 times today? And a green person says, I told you I loved you last year. Why do I have to tell you again?
Oh, that's totally me.
So that's how different
Yeah.
it
Oh,
could
that's
be.
totally me in that way.
Because green people are like, well, no, unless I tell you otherwise.
I do
That's
have
how I feel.
those aspects of myself
that's totally
too.
me.
Mm-hmm.
More.
And green people, they're really direct too.
Oh,
so
I
if
can
you
be
have a
that
lot
way.
of green,
Yeah, that's-
you'll just say it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't
My
like
dad
BS.
is
They
more
like
like
honesty.
I think he's totally.
Sometimes to a fault, like if you have a friend that's really green, they might be like, "Oh wow, that sweater looks terrible on you. You should go home and change."
It sounds like my aunt.
Yeah. It's like the bocca della verità, the
Yeah.
mouth of truth.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That's totally the green people.
Oh wow.
They love conflict. They understand things through arguing. So lawyers, totally green. If you ever like talk to a lawyer, they love arguing. That's how they understand the world. It's not like they're being mean. They're just being green. That's what
Well,
they're
that's
saying.
funny because in our family, everything's an argument.
Yeah.
Like we're totally
There's probably a lot of green in your
Minnie.
family.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
But not in a mean-spirited way. It's a debate.
Yeah.
There's always a debate about everything. And we do it all the time. We did it before we got here. Like, over something silly.
So without thinking too much about it, I want you gals to categorize yourself. So number 1 is the one you're most similar to.
Yes.
And number 4 is the least similar. So again, we'll just review them. So orange, again, are action-based people. Gold people are structured. Blue people are emotion-based. And green people are information analytical. Okay? So just take like a couple seconds and think about it.
And do we have to, in our minds, do we have to rank them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 1 is the one
Feel.
you're most similar to.
Okay.
And number 4 is the one you're least similar to.
Oh, I already know.
Okay. Well, that tells me a lot about what personality you are.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because there's one personality type that takes longer, and I'll explain why.
Oh, awesome.
So I can guess that you're not that one as much.
Oh.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
So you have to do which one? One is what you.
One is
are
the
like,
most similar,
4 is
and
the
then
least.
4 is so orange action, gold structure, blue emotion, and green information. So I'll tell you a little bit about what my personality is first, and then we can talk about yours. Okay.
Okay.
So for me, I'm primarily, I would say, orange. So I'm such a tornado. Like, you know, I come home, throw everything around, leave, and then when I come home, I put everything back. You know, I'm just like very action-based, always doing something. My sister's very much like me too, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, very just like, rah, I do a million
Right.
things all at once, right? And I've
Right.
had to learn as I grow older that I can't do like a million things at once. And I
Yeah.
have to like, you know, I don't like structure. I like doing different things every day. Like if I had a job that was the same every day, I would go insane,
Yeah.
right? But then the next two for me are really equal. I'm both blue and green. So I'm really creative, empathetic, but I'm also really analytical.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get emotional super easily, but I can empathize really well. So those are kind of equal for me. And I have a very like business mindset, but I can put that away and be very creative. And then gold, I have 0 gold. I have no organizational skills. I'm such a mess. The only thing that's gold is I like following rules. Sometimes like if somebody litters, I get really mad. But that's about it. So I have 0 gold in me. So I'm primarily orange, then blue and green, and then gold. Yes, now you know more about me. What about you guys? Anybody else know? Rosa.
Yeah, I think I'm least like the orange.
Okay, so that's your number 4. Perfect.
I think. I don't know if it would be between the orange and the gold.
This is like the bottom.
Is the
Okay,
bottom.
so blue green, which is interesting if these are on top because you're both emotional and analytical.
Yeah.
So those kind of people can drive themselves crazy sometimes because you overanalyze emotion, which is something you can't analyze.
That's totally
Right?
all the time.
You're like, well, wait a minute, why do I feel that way? Why would I feel that way? Because you try to rationalize emotion.
Me completely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense,
That's
right?
what I do all the time.
And you went into a profession that's good because you're creative but also analytical. You have to have a business sense, but you also have to be
Yes.
creative because you're cutting hair. You know.
You have to be smart. You have
yeah.
to have a good head on your shoulders.
And green people, they're not like naturally organized, but they can create like systems for themselves to make sure.
So it's kind of
You
like
know.
you have your own filibuster.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally,
It's like-
totally. So that makes a lot of sense. That's good. What about you, Liz?
Okay, well, first of all, definitely number 1, blue.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm definitely blue. Now, the second one was very interesting to me. Like, you know, when I was thinking about this, because I do have some aspects of me that are green, but I do, in terms of the way I go about things like organization, I totally
Yeah, because
organize.
before you leave the house, you have to do all your
Yeah,
rituals,
I
right?
do.
Lisa's got to do her rituals. So it's
I
I got to put the
do.
shoes here. I got to put the
Yes.
bag here. I got to do, like,
That's
you can't leave the
goals.
house until you do the ritual.
It's
That's
totally
very
true.
gold.
So that's what I was thinking: blue, gold, green, then orange last.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And that's why I thought green was lower for you, because green people take the longest to decide.
Ah.
Because they're like, well, I'm blue because of this, and that. And then I'm orange because of this, and that. And then I'm gold because they're overanalyzing it.
Correct.
Like
correct,
a blue
correct.
person just knows that your gut was like, oh, I'm blue.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You know?
oh, for sure.
You know?
You know, so, but I could totally see the gold in me because
Totally.
my grandmother must have been gold, because I remember when I was younger, I used to look at her do these things, but I was a child, and I'm like, God, everything takes forever. Like, she has to do all this other shit. And now, you know, and Manny totally knows this too, like our last trip together, he was like, geez, because I totally have a system for everything. Like, I'm totally like, you know, like first I do this, and then I do this,
Yeah.
and then I do this, and then I do this, and now it's time for bed.
And then as sisters, you both have the blue, so that's why you guys connect so well. Because you really connect on that blue level.
Yeah.
So I almost see
Absolutely.
you as least gold, more orange, because gold are like annoying, aren't they?
No, they're not annoying. They're just like, they like things the way they are. Like, they like rules.
Oh my
you know what
God.
I mean? They respect rules. They
Aren't
like
they
the
like
way...
the more
They
irritating?
like process
They're
oriented.
irritating.
Well, if you have more orange in you, maybe. Because you're like, oh, well, I want to break the rule. They're like, no, you can't. They're like, teacher, you know. Orange people like breaking rules. Gold people like following rules.
And I don't really necessarily, because sometimes I do. Like, I'm totally like, well, I don't want to do it like that. Fuck that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's
that
why you have
happens.
all the colors in your personality.
Exactly.
You know, it's whichever one's more
Exactly.
dominant. What about you, Nora?
I related to blue 1st,
Mhm.
and then orange, and then green, and then gold.
I can see that. So you're like me.
But I think now that you talk about green a little bit, I think orange and green are fighting for second place,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not organized, but I do have I call
You
it.
set up systems for
I
yourself.
have organized chaos. I
Yes,
call it, on
that's
my
very
desk
good. It's
at
like the
work.
absent-minded professor is green.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
that's how I am for sure. But then I'm also always making lists and needing to do things, and
But then you forget the list.
then I forget the
Yeah,
list.
that's not a gold thing. That's more of a green thing. Because
That's
you're
not
like,
a
well, I
strong
know
thing.
the smart thing to do is to make a list, but then you're like, ah.
Yeah, exactly. I could sit all day at work, make lists, and you guys know this. I send you messages and emails all day because I'm making lists. Okay, but then I could have a list for the store, the grocery store after work, and then I go in, I'm like, fuck it, I don't need a list, and then I come back home and I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's like I forgot this and this and this.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely always a fight with me, my own craziness.
Yeah. And if you look at it, all of us have blue as our one or number twos.
Yeah.
So that's why we all get along as friends, because we connect on that emotional level, creative level.
True.
You know?
Oh, interesting.
So that's a really good
Interesting
way
for
for us
real.
to connect, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, and that's why we get along with my sister, too. But my sister doesn't have a lot of blue. She's more orange, right?
She is more
So if you know Rosa, she's very, like, action-based. But, like, when you piss her off, she's got the green. She's like, that's crap.
Oh, she
You know?
totally
Like
has
the everything
green.
sucks period.
Yeah.
We're like, uh-oh, everything sucks.
Yeah.
So, like, that's, you know, she's more like orange-green. But yeah, isn't that interesting?
That's super interesting.
It even works for pets, too. You can even analyze your
Please.
pets.
No way!
Oh, and if you tend to like animals, you have more blue in your personality. Because blue people, they're like the best with animals.
Oh,
like, they
I
almost
love
always
that.
have animals.
Yeah. Oh my God! I totally want to know how to do it with the animals.
Yeah.
So how does the results that you make of yourself, how do they relate to other people? So blue people's always relate better, or green people's always...
Not necessarily. The
Yeah.
best thing to take from this is to look at what your number 4 is. And those are the people that you have the biggest problems communicating with. So whatever your last one is, if you have somebody that in your life that's really like that, you're either going to be pretty complimentary or you're going to butt heads a lot. You know? So if you have somebody that's very structured, like say if you're orange, if you have somebody that's really structured, and even in a work setting, you're going to have more problems communicating with those kind of people, you know?
And that's what drives me nuts too, because sometimes, like, it just made me think, like Rosa was saying about the gold, because I'll totally be like, no, like, you know, and I'll give her a reason too, like this bottle, not like this, you put it like this. If you put it like this, it's gonna spill. Do you want it to spill?
You're like, okay.
Yeah, you know, and then, but that's what drives me nuts, because then it'll spill, and then she bitches about it spilling, and I was like, what did I tell you?
But it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? You're just like, Who fucking
But then
cares?
it's spilling or bitching about keep spilling.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point.
But I get like that too, of like, fuck you.
Yeah, and then you bitch about it
Oh,
spilling.
gold are the worst. Come on, they're kiss asses. They're annoying.
Well, if
Why
gold people
never
didn't
did
exist
that?
though, like the world would be a disaster.
That's
like
true.
nothing. Like it would be like Italy. Like Italy has no gold people.
That is
They're all blue, like super blue though,
That is
yelling at
true.
each other all the time. Like it's
Yeah.
dramatic.
Everyone hates
Which
them,
I
but
have
they,
that-
like,
that's
get
like my
stuff
main thing.
done, I guess. Like, everyone hates them. Everyone hates gold. But when they're not there, you're kind of like...
Then you miss them because
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
gets her. Like my mom is super gold, right?
Yes.
I would make my bed growing up, and she would undo it and make it again because she had to have it done.
Yeah,
the
see, I
right
don't
way.
do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain parts of my personality I think are gold. I mean, there
Yeah.
is.
You have
But
to,
isn't
and
there-
that's,
everybody
that's
has
why your
some
profession
sort of
suits
it.
you too. Because I can never be in a situation where I had to handle like minute things very carefully.
Oh, no
Like
way.
Yeah.
I was always bad at operation. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You got shaky hands.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated. I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna get it. Goddamn
yeah,
dog
totally.
bone.
Just don't get it.
And like even when I do like hair, and people probably don't know about hair, but like sometimes you have to like envision it. So somebody comes in with like a bistro, like oh that's totally what is it the dictionary word?
Oh, what?
A bistro.
A bistro? We never
Oh, a
call it
bistro
that.
is not quite an afro. It's like a sub-afro.
Yeah.
It's a bistro.
Yeah.
So it's like a bistro.
Yeah, it's a sub-afro. It's
a
so
sub-
So somebody comes in with bistro, and like you're like, okay, I want like whatever they want. They want something very structured, and my very first thing is the thing. It has to be like like you know in steps, piece by piece
Yeah.
by piece. I see the big picture, just start attacking the shit.
That's
Like-
a very green thing is to see
Yeah.
the big picture. You like to know the whole picture.
And then you're going in there like a weed whacker.
And-
And then
yeah.
and it's bad. So that would be
You're
good
like
to
Edward
have.
Scissorhands.
Yeah, so that would be good to
Oh,
have the
Edward
gold
Scissorhands.
in there. You know what I mean? To
But if you have a
structure-
client
Yeah.
that's more gold, you're going to approach them differently than you would an orange client, right? So if you have a gold client, you got to tell them in order. You're going to tell them
Oh,
everything
yeah.
step by step,
Uh-huh.
what you're going to do
I
first,
have
what
a
you're going to do.
lot of those.
But if you do that with an orange person, they're going to start looking at their watch. They're going to look at their phone. They're going to be like, oh my God, is
And
she still
that's
talking?
what's
Just get to
interesting.
action. Like, please,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
start cutting my hair.
But for some reason,
know?
the people that love the shit out of me are the golds. They fucking love my ass. Yeah, they do.
Because you bring some excitement into
No,
their
because
life.
I do. I'm like very patient with them.
Now, you know what's interesting is I see both big picture and compartmentalize things. Both. You know what I mean? So
Well, it's like before you're going to do a task, do you like to
Yeah.
ask a lot of questions? Because green people, the most
sometimes.
common word out of their mouth is why.
oh yeah, I love
So
to
you're
know
like, but why? But wait a minute, why? Why would we do that there? And then a green person like is going to take something and be like, okay, so why do we do it this way?
Yes.
Okay, well that's stupid. I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah,
'cause
no,
this is way
that
better.
I do.
This is way
that
better.
I absolutely do.
They
I
like
totally like that
perfecting
at
things.
work.
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally do that shit. That's why I don't necessarily totally feel that I don't know, like a gold-green combo almost I am. You know, because I think some
Well, you
green,
definitely are very blue.
blue, yeah,
Like blue
number
for
one.
sure, but
Blue
maybe
number
like
one.
gold green after.
Yeah, blue number one. But there are certain things in me that is because I always say that's like my motto. If you know why, you'll always remember why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Why you should do it is if you know why. That's like my main thing. And then I do notice even with patients, you probably heard our mascot a couple of times. It was Spanky. So
Oh,
he just like
Spanky,
came
the
by.
dog.
Yes, the baby. I want to know what his personality is too.
Oh.
But yeah, with I could tell, like you were saying, you could tell the difference. The gold. Which are the ones that ask 50 million questions? It's gold.
Green.
It's green.
Yeah, gold people don't like to ask questions. They like to be told
I
like,
gotcha.
what's the process
Okay,
and I'll
yes.
follow it.
Okay, gotcha.
Green people are like, what?
Oh.
That's a stupid process. We should do it this way.
And it takes forever. Like you really have to go through and explain
Yeah,
everything.
they want to know
Yes.
every little thing.
And you can tell the ones that are orange. I'm thinking is because they're kind of like
Orange
looking
people
around.
just they're like, okay, why aren't I'm already on to the next thing?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They're on to the
Exactly.
next. Like for example, so when I do this, I usually do this in like groups of 50 to like 100 people, right? So what you do at this point is you break everyone up into groups. So you break all the orange people together, all the blue people together, and so forth. And you ask them to do like a series of questions. And the questions are interesting, but what's really interesting is how each group interacts with one another. So, okay, so let's take the gold people, right? So they're all about structure. So if you could sit any way you wanted, how do you think gold people would sit?
As far as facing each other, or
Just in general, they could sit however they want to do the activity.
The gold people?
Mm-hmm.
they would sit on a chair.
Well, yeah, everyone's sitting in a chair. But, well, they would be sitting, actually, because some of them don't sit. They would sit in rows, or they sit in a very structured way.
Okay.
And they, because they have to write, so they compare handwriting styles, and then whoever has the neatest handwriting is the one that's going to write on the board.
Oh.
And then their board is always like the neatest and the most balanced, and it's like color coordinated.
Oh, interesting.
And then the other interesting thing about them is that they follow the directions.
Is Rosa dying of boredom?
I know, she's like falling asleep over here. So they follow the directions to a T, but once they're done, they don't talk because the instructions were to do the activity, and then they just kind of sit quietly and wait for the teacher or to the instructor to do everything else.
So they're like an ant kind of.
Yeah, they're just like following the directions. Like protocol. They like protocol. Like that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Oh my god.
So that's the goal people. Rosa's like going insane, right?
I knew which ones they were.
But the thing is, too, it's like for me, it's like I think it's the why. The why is a huge thing for me. It's not to do it just because somebody told me. Like you know what I mean? Like that's not what I have. But I definitely have my things where before I leave, I gotta do this.
It's gotta be in the structure.
And then I gotta do that. And then I gotta do that. Yeah, that for sure.
So with orange people, on the other hand, like I was in the orange group, and like we accidentally ripped our pieces of paper off the board, so we just ripped all of them and we taped them all to the windows, and then we just started shouting answers and writing whatever we wanted down. And the orange people are like all over the place. None of them are sitting. They're moving. People have their feet up on the table. People are lying on the floor. Like it's chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
That's
and they always
That's
mention sex.
That's a lot of I would say salespeople.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Salespeople are orange. They always mention sex too. Like none of the other groups ever do. The orange people always mention sex.
I know a lot of orange.
In the answer, in your profession,
Yeah.
because orange people have to be entrepreneurial, so they need to take risks.
That's who I encounter a lot now. A lot of orange people.
Now those aspects,
they give zero fucks. They're just like, let's just fucking do it.
Yeah.
They don't like to know the details. They're just like, let me figure it out as I go.
Right.
Like I'll figure this out. I need to do it. Like they need to actually do it.
Yes. Like hands on.
Now blue people. So think if they're relationship oriented, how do you think they would sit? Think kumbaya.
They would sit together in a circle.
In a circle.
Yeah.
They always get in a circle. It's the weirdest thing. So the blue people automatically get in a circle because for them, there's no hierarchy, right? So I'm not over you, you're not over me. They want to get to know people before they can do the activity. So they talk. They're like, oh, where are you from? Oh my God, I had a brother that lived there. Do you know John? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So they'll start like exchanging phone numbers. And then usually me
I totally do that.
like I usually have to come over and be like, hey, make sure you guys, do the activity.
Like,
and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, we like your tie or whatever it is.
My thing is like, let's sit in a group. Who's quick? Who's fast? Who could get it done all at once?
Yeah.
That's
not
what
blue.
Group I want.
Blue people, they have to know each other. They have to have the relationship first.
That makes it more meaningful.
Now, green people, they're hilarious because they start analyzing each other right away. And they're like, well, why are you green?
Yeah.
They're like, why are you
this
green?
person is this person is
They're like, well, wait a
It
minute.
was the
I'm green because of this.
fast
You're green because of that. And then as a group, they decide that one person's not really green. Like, they all decide. They're like, oh, no, this person's in the wrong group. So they kick somebody out. Like, it happens almost every time. They kick the person out.
Really?
Yes,
this
it's
person's
hilarious.
not green.
They'll kick them out, and then one person out, like one group always takes that person in. Which group do you think is most likely?
The blue.
The blue, they feel bad.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you should come into our
and it's like,
group.
you should come over here.
And then the green person just like takes over the blue group and gets them on task and like gets them to finish everything. And it's like consistent, like most times. The green people, they always kick someone out.
That's
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
They're super analytical. They get like way into their heads.
I could get a lot. I'm more like the green. I think where I'm just like we all get in a group. I'm like boom, boom, boom. Which one is quick, like fast, so we can get on.
Makes sense to me.
Kick it out and get it on, because got places to go.
Makes sense to me. I mean, that's practical.
It's
like
practical.
you're going to look for like the person that's going to be able to get her done.
Get her done.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really fun activity to kind of be with people whose brains work kind of like yours. I know the first time I did it, I was in the blue group and we all exchanged phone numbers and became friends. And like, it was really funny. But it's a super interesting kind of activity to do as together with people. Now here's another example of kind of how to get you to like look at these in a different way. So say you're driving down like the expressway, right? So you're driving down the interstate. And your stop is coming up, right?
Okay.
So, if you're an orange person, at the last minute, you're going to realize your stop is there. You're going to cut across like 8 lanes of traffic, and then you're going to get out, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're the gold person, you never even got into the left lane. You've been in the right lane the whole time because you knew like 5 steps ahead that the thing was coming. So you're like, well, why would I move lanes? I'm just going to stay in the right lane.
Because it's coming.
So then you exit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the blue, if you notice it at the last minute, you're like, oh, I don't want to cut all these people off. That's totally assholey. So I'm going to skip the exit,
and
go
turn
get off
around.
at the next one, and then I'll come back.
Asshole.
Right?
Ah.
Then if you're the green person, you're like, well, I'm traveling at 55 miles an hour, and the car next to me is about 45. So if I could speed up a little faster, I can cut in front of him, and then I can move in front of the guy that's in front of me, and then I can get out. Like you totally start analyzing the different movements. So that's how you would get out. So isn't that interesting?
But I do have the assholey thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I also have that. I have like all 3 of those actually. The orange one, no way. Like that one, no.
I'll cut across 10 lanes of traffic.
Yeah. Sometimes you know what? Now even thinking about it, sometimes I might even say sometimes I have a little more
orange. Because even what you said, you're like, oh, I want to get this done, and that's very orange. That's very action based.
Sometimes I
green people are more
have
methodical.
That. Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes I do have this where you're just like,
get her done. And even cultures, like even American culture, were much more orange.
Yeah,
and say
true.
the Italian culture
That's
is
like,
much more blue.
That's fucking bears.
Or like British are much more green.
Yeah.
But we probably have everybody does.
I think everybody has different facets, right?
Totally.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's interesting. But there's predominant ones.
And then you change as you grow older. Maybe when you were younger, you may have been
I'm
more.
totally blue. I have been true
maybe you've
blue.
been
My
true
whole
blue,
life.
baby. I love you.
Yeah, like my whole life for sure. The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, even in relationships, like as a blue person, you have to connect with the person.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we're all kind of like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So who are the ones
Yeah, because even in, like with friendships, like, I'm not really.
Well,
yes.
green people can have problems in relationships if they don't realize that it's fluid. Like, right? Because my boyfriend's more green, right? Cameron's more green. So for him, it's like, oh, I already told you I love you. It's fine. Like, it's there.
It's
unless I tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
But he's learned that, like, well, I was like, well, every time I tell you I love you, it means something different. It's not the same thing. So I had to rationalize it with him. I'm like, every time I'm telling you, it's furthering the way I feel about you and like moving it forward. He's like, that makes so much sense. Yeah. So now he does it because it's logical to him now. It's like I'm not just saying it just to say it. It's like there's a purpose behind it.
I was just going to ask you, well, like, how do you mean in the way you say it? Yeah, I think I am more of this because I'm like, what?
He's like, why would I tell you that? I already told you, so why would I tell you again? But like now that makes sense to him because he's like, oh, well, it evolves. It's an ever change. Like with blue people, relationships are ever changing.
They are
ever expanding.
They are
like the universe.
Yes.
You know, so it's super interesting. So sometimes people end up with their opposites. Like think about like people you've been with. Like have you guys ever been with somebody that's kind of your opposite?
Who's the green's opposite?
Yeah.
The blue. So you've been with somebody that's your opposite.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yours would be more like the green? Like the green orange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, totally. Green orange. Super, but or green golds can be kind of tough to deal with.
Green gold.
For
now
me,
that looks like that would
because
be
they're
tough.
super methodical but super direct, so they can seem empathetic sometimes. But you know, they're not. They're just being very direct, so you know exactly where they stand.
Girls that got a bad cut from her shears.
Oh man.
So like so Nora and Manny are totally like, do not take off that bandage. You know, so because I had to dress it. I have to dress it again.
Yeah,
like
stuff. You know, stuff like that makes my butt pucker.
Yeah, like they're totally like, oh man.
Butt pucker.
Butt pucker.
Butt pucker.
But we digress.
We digress as usual. So like think about your family members now.
Oh yeah.
So think about like say your parents or something. Like what do you think your parents would be? Because for example, mine were both gold. Like my mom and dad are both gold.
Yeah,
and and blue, you know, and my sister and I are both orange. So we were like two tornadoes running around them growing up. And like whenever we had like an issue at school, they would get out the encyclopedia and they would look up the exact thing and like, you know.
I think they're more blue and gold.
My parents?
Yeah.
My parents are totally blue and gold.
Well, that's what you just said.
Oh, because I think you said they're more gold.
Well, blue gold. Totally. My mom is super blue.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But she keeps us all together. She keeps us updated on each other.
Yes.
That's why she's not that annoying. If you're like pure gold.
There are some people that are pure gold.
Pure green can be fucking annoying.
What about green and
pure?
gold?
Any of them can be
irritating because they're super cold.
Yes, that's what it makes me think of. And there's a couple people that come to mind, green gold, like, you know, that I've come across in my life and stuff. But I think, well, mom, blue for sure, and orange.
Yeah,
I can
she's
see
blue-orange.
Yeah, I can see
You can see
orange.
orange in her?
Oh yeah.
Does she have a big attention span, or is she like moving on to different
Moves.
things? Yeah,
Like
she's
you know,
very
like
orange.
she's very. Think about it. Think about it. She's very.
What
much.
about green and orange? Would they be bad?
Green and orange are like, give me the information, but give it to me fast. So fast.
That sounds like New York.
And green people are more likely to use Google. Like if they don't know something, they want to know the exact answer, so they're going to Google it.
See, I do that.
You know, they're like,
remember
oh,
how
I
many
wanna know
times
the
this time?
exact
Look it up.
answer.
Yeah. But now, my dad, green, he has
Green,
for sure. And
because he's like an electrician.
Yeah,
Maybe
engineer.
blue.
That's a very good
Maybe
job. Engineer, yeah.
Yeah.
I think green.
Green. You think he has blue?
Yeah.
You know, my mom's more blue, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad is kind of clueless sometimes when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Very interesting.
Yeah,
What
I
about our
think-
brother?
Green, probably.
Yeah, because it's everything's a fucking question.
Yeah.
Like
He's
everything's-
probably more green than I am.
For sure. I think he's the
Less
most green out of
blue.
all of us. Yeah. It's
What
that is
about
so
you, Nora?
Interesting.
I don't know.
You're like, I don't know, this is CR.
That would be hard because you'd have to like analyze everyone.
Or like, for
Yeah.
example, like when I'm doing this, we'll do a thing where we'll look at famous people and we'll see like what colors you think they are, right? At least their public persona. We might not know them personally. So every time I give Barack Obama, people always think is a different color, because like
They seem different.
because like to be a presidential candidate, you have to like show different aspects of yourself, right? So they have to cater to each personality
you have to
style.
be
So people are like, oh, he's
compassionate. You
blue,
have
like
to
his
be-
speeches are so
Yeah.
blue and passionate. But
Oh,
then he's
that's
green
interesting.
because he's a lawyer and he's really analytical and
Totally.
long-winded. Or he's orange because he got so much done so fast. Or he's
Yeah.
gold. So like that's interesting with him. It's like most presidents, they think they're like different colors.
Huh.
But like somebody like we were talking about Ellen DeGeneres earlier. Like
Yeah.
her comedy is really blue, right? Because she never cuts anybody down, right? She like makes fun of like gardening and it's hilarious, right? But she's never like a negative person
Right.
against us. So it's a very
Right.
blue form of comedy.
Ah.
Whereas like Louis C.K. is more like green, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, how stupid. Like
Yeah.
Larry David's like super green,
Oh,
right?
David is awesome.
Yeah.
That's like green orange,
Yeah,
right?
green orange.
Green like freaks out at everything. It's
Yeah.
like, what? My God.
Yeah, see, I could feel like I'm
You know.
like that sometimes. That's
I miss
weird.
watching that
yeah, I
show.
know.
That
I
was an
wish it would
awesome
come back
show.
with that. Every time they're always like, "No, I don't think we're going to do another season," and then they would come out
Like,
with another one, and it would be, and it was funnier than the last
That's
one.
awesome.
Oh God, I love that man.
So like a couple final things with these. So basically, when you're relating to people, like how do you even figure out their color? Well, it's hard to do, but like once you kind of like use it on yourself, use it on your family, it kind of becomes more intuitive. And like when you're
Yeah.
talking to people, you kind of get it a little more, you know. And me as like not as much of a green person, I've learned to understand green people more. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well he's not just being an asshole, he's just being direct.
Right.
You know, he's just being honest, and like
Right.
now you know where they stand.
Yes.
You know, you always know where a green person stands because they're just, you know, they're going to tell you what they think.
Yeah.
You know, whereas a blue person might not tell you what they think because they want
Yeah.
to keep the peace.
That's true because I do that too. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
'cause you
That's
wanna
it
hurt people's
depends.
feelings.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Because
For sure.
that I've totally come across that shit.
Or like blue people sometimes, they don't, like if they're asking you for advice, they don't want the solution. They just want you to like
Listen,
empathize with their
listen.
emotional journey.
Yeah.
So a green person's going to try to be like, well, you should do this, that. And then blue person's not going to respond well to that.
Yeah.
All they need is like, oh my God, that's terrible. I can't
Right.
believe that happened.
Right.
Like, oh my God, you must feel like so bad.
You're right.
You know, that's what a blue person really wants to hear. But a green person's like, give me the solution. What should I do? You know what I mean? Like, I need to figure out the solution.
And me as a blue person, I feel like that's how I respond to people that tell me things.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily, sometimes I'll do solutions, but I also have that where I'm like, oh my God, you must feel terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
that
like,
goes
oh
a
my
long
God.
way.
Yeah.
That totally goes a long way.
I totally do that.
Yeah, because if you didn't have all these personalities,
It's
in the
very
world,
interesting.
It's interesting that it wouldn't like function.
Yeah.
correctly.
And we
Would
need
be
people to
fucked up.
have these different personalities. Because
Yeah.
can you imagine somebody blue going into like accounting?
Oh,
Like that,
God.
you know, like a blue-orange person. Like if you're
Yeah.
blue-orange and you're an accountant, you are in the wrong profession.
Right.
Because you are a people person, you're creative, and then
Yeah.
you're doing something that's super like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the same thing.
And
every time.
it has to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel I am. I'm in
Yeah.
the wrong profession.
Yeah.
So this actually, like, I even have a book that goes really into detail with each personality type. I'll send it to you guys. But it goes into like what jobs you should be doing, like what interests could where you would
The weird thing to
love
me,
life, all that stuff.
when you do those, I bet you like green would probably be engineers and stuff like
Absolutely.
that.
Green is
But
engineers,
I'm not
lawyers.
good in those fields.
See, and
Because you have the blue too, though. You have the creative.
But you know
Right.
what? I love that stuff. I did take engineering classes. I do like that stuff. Which is weird because I'm not necessarily really good at math, but higher math is fine, which I don't understand still to this day. Yeah. Higher math is okay, but like long division, I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the big
So
picture
weird.
thing, though. That goes along with that big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can be like that too. Let's say my habit would be, I can clean the whole house, but if I have a grouping of some miscellaneous things, I freak out.
Sometimes it happens to me too.
I don't know what to do at this point.
Yeah.
Like
I
a
could
sock.
do all the big things.
Like a
and then-
sock?
Yeah, you walk around with it for like hours. What do I do with this sock?
You're right.
What am I supposed to do with this? Or like, yeah, it could be like me miscellaneous things like one earring,
Yeah.
And
And you're looking at it almost catatonic.
Yes.
Like you're totally like...
it could be just a smattering of things.
Yeah.
That freaks me out. I'm under pressure because I don't know how to organize that stuff. Like, a lot of little things.
Yeah. Green people tend not to be good with the details. Like even in a business setting, like green people create the systems, they create the things, but they want gold people to implement them.
Yes.
Because the gold person's like, tell me what to do and I'll do it exactly the way you told me. But a green person's going to get bored with
I
that.
can do that too. I
You
can
know?
do it. Like,
They want to
like,
like
step by step.
innovate,
That's why
think
they're
outside
like
the box.
It's very interesting.
Like if you have a boss, it's interesting to know their personality style because they're gonna be different types of manager based on their personality style. Like a blue boss is gonna have trouble doing conflict, so giving you negative feedback is gonna be really tough for a blue boss. They're gonna want to like be your best friend, communicate with you, and like, but also they want to nurture the best out of people. But a green person's gonna be very into like, all right, you screwed that up, like very direct, like don't screw that up again. You know, very, very cut and dry.
Right.
And a gold person too, it's like you have to do everything meticulously into the T with a gold person.
Yes.
But they kind of lack sometimes like the people skills, to really know how people relate to one another. But an orange boss, like they're going to be a lot of fun and you're going to get a lot done, but they're going to just be all over the place.
Orange
so
people
like,
are hilarious.
you have to try to like, pin them down because they can get, they can get so like, action based.
Yeah.
So to recap,
yeah.
Orange is action, gold is structure, blue is emotion, and green is information. So hopefully you guys have analyzed yourselves, and hopefully this has been like a psychotherapy session.
I know. It's like really, wow. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention, because I just thought of it, and at some point we're going to get to it anyway. How does this relate to sex?
Oh, duh.
Like, can you imagine?
Let's talk about you.
Well, the two major ones that affect sex are orange and blue.
Emotion and action.
Emotion and action. Because orange people are very physical, right? So they're looking for the sex. They can separate emotion and sex, right? And sometimes if they're really orange, they can't even do the emotion as part of the sex.
To that part.
See?
Yeah,
like, that's what I'm
I
saying.
can relate to that part a lot.
But the blue, they're going to need the emotional connection
that's
in order to get satisfaction.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's
they can't,
really?
like a one night stand's really hard for a blue.
I mean,
Sometimes
not necessarily.
It kills it. Sometimes I'm like,
no,
oh,
not what I have.
What
I need.
you, I can't get hot.
See, for me, I at least have to have some sort of a camaraderie. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, I feel so much for you. Oh, you're so.
No,
like you could be like, it could be a casual
I
thing.
could see that part, but I'm not of that. I don't think.
Like I still have to have an affinity for the person.
Yeah, like blue, I would say is camaraderie, and then orange is camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
They need the camaraderie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But okay, here's another way to look at it. So you guys know the show Sex and the City, right? Have you guys all seen that?
Yes.
So each of them is a perfect archetype of these personality styles. So if you think of Samantha, she's super orange, right?
Yeah.
Says exactly what's on her mind, always thinking about sex, always like, very, very large personality.
Yeah.
Gold, Charlotte. I have to be married by the time I'm 30.
totally
I have to have a
Charlotte.
kid by the time I'm 32. Everything's got to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Carrie's she's blue, but she's also green. Like she analyzes emotion, right? She analyzes relationships.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer, Miranda's green because she's a lawyer, right? And she's got the real dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
She's very like, doesn't let her emotions rule her heart. It's very hard for her to do that. So if you look at a lot of shows, they follow this archetype. Even Seinfeld, like they follow the archetype. You know, Elaine is the more gold, and what's his name? George Costanza's the green, and Jerry's the orange. You know, so the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it like fits with them.
Wow.
Yeah, it fits with all of them. So if you look at all these different shows,
that's really cool.
Or if you think of like Will and Grace, like obviously Jack and Karen are both super orange, right? Mm-hmm. But Will is like, you know, he's green, he's the lawyer. Yeah. And then Grace is really blue and orange. Yeah. And he's green and gold. So that's comedy ensues.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You know? So it's kind of fun to like look at shows and see how they fit these like archetypes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll never look at like a show the same again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Modern Family too. You guys ever watch Modern Family?
No, you know what? I haven't.
You haven't seen
I've seen like a couple, like like an episode or two, but not.
Because Ed O'Neill is really green, and both of his kids are really green, but they all married blue and orange people.
Oh my god!
So that's super funny because all their partners are like either blue or orange.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So it's really funny to look at that, but you could tell they're related because they're the greens.
Yeah.
You know, one of them's a lawyer, and then the other woman is like the. She works with the dad. And then even the kids too, even like the little baby, the girl, the Asian girl, that's the daughter of the gay couple. She's green, but her dad's really blue, so it's really funny. She's always like, "Dad, you're being ridiculous."
Yeah, she's like a toddler.
Yeah, and she was even green as a toddler.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's super interesting. So look at that. That'll help you like kind of, you know, see how writers, I'm sure, know this on some level.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially if they have to write about other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Characters.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about dicks.
What a great segue. Yeah.
Segue? That was like,
because that's what I was thinking. I was like,
he took it out.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like somebody that has like, what I was thinking more of, like somebody that has like a predominantly gold personality or green.
They're going to want the missionary position.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it made me think of. You know, somebody who was very...
Well, they're going to like the structure. They're like, okay, first we kiss.
Yes.
Then we do oral sex.
And so many dates.
Then we have missionary sex. And then we clean up.
Oh,
like, it's got to go the same every time.
The same.
It's got to follow the pattern.
Yeah, see, I'm totally like... See, now for that, I'm totally like... Whatever. I'm totally like, whatever form it takes. We'll see what happens. Like, you know, like, I totally am like that.
What about the people that like to just get wasted and like just...
Orange. Orange people love getting wasted.
Yeah.
Like, bars are filled with orange people.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, people just want to get wasted and bang in a park. Yup. So I could see maybe green, orange, then blue.
Is what I am.
But it almost seems to me it depends on the situation.
I think I'm mostly green. I was supposed to be orange, but some shit happened.
You were orange when you were little. When you were little, you were super orange.
Yeah.
You know, you did moon people walking down the street, like you would
I don't know
sing.
what happened, but that bitch is coming back one day. Yeah.
I love it. Well, actually, we also wanted to take a moment to kind of talk about our podcast and thank everyone for listening. As always, we're so appreciative of our audience, and you know we really appreciate your feedback. And one way you can really support the podcast is to go on iTunes if you're listening to us on iTunes or any of the podcast sites and give us a review. Let us know what you think. Hopefully, you like it. But that goes a great way to really helping us out. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we really do appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
So on that note, thank you guys again. You know, like we can't thank you enough. I mean, it really, and every new listener that comes up, we're totally like, oh my God.
Like,
you know, yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah. So you will be hearing from us soon.
Yeah, and our philosophy is don't talk to strangers unless they're cute.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Manny, of course, has to make that sentiment.
It's not molesting if they're hot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, signing off.
Love you long time.
Now.
If you like what you heard, please share us on Twitter at Bitch Podcast, on Facebook at labpodcast Chicago, on Instagram at l.a.b._podcast, or visit our website www.labpodcast.com.